It's Ellen here. Today, I'm so excited to be doing another recovery story, and I am going to let my special guest, introduce herself.
Hi, my name's Pam S, and I've been on this healing journey for about a year and a half.
A year and a half. Okay. So, when did you actually come down with long COVID, or how did you even figure out it was long COVID?
Yeah, well, I contracted COVID in 2024. I was really doing a very good job of keeping myself away from the virus. I did a lot of healing practices during that time, but I got it. So after that, um, I got the virus thinking, oh, everything would be okay. But then about a month later, I came down with more severe symptoms.
Like, what were
And
those?
they were, my heart would start palpitating when I would do my normal activity. I had a lot of brain fog. I had ringing in my ears. I had a lot of neurological things like headaches. And that's where really I was like, oh, something's not right. I'm not getting better. But, as a person, I just was fighting on. I was just like, I'll get better. We push ourselves to the point where I just kind of had a kind of a collapse, and I had to go to the doctor. And that's what kind of brought the realization that something was really, not going well.
So, did your
Um,
medical tests show things? Did they show that there were issues in the neurological symptoms? What was that about like?
yeah, well, I went to the doctor. She checked everything out and she's like, oh, you look fine. And I'm like, yeah, but I have ringing in my ears and I have this and I have that. So she did do a bunch of lab work. The only consistent lab thing that came up was my ferritin levels were high and a few other little markers. But I was concerned I was having heart condition or something because I had that history in my family. But she was like, no, you're fine. So
Yeah.
that was defeating.
Right. Defeating, confusing, when we aren't getting answers from the medical community. So, what did you do then? And maybe you could speak about, the process of your recovery, of your recognition of that this was something that was beyond, what you're going to get traditional help for.
Right. So when I left the office that day, she said, just get back to your regular, activities slowly. And if anything changes, come see me. Well, I was like, okay, my husband had given me a gym membership. And I was like, still, I had fear in my mind. I didn't want to get COVID again. I didn't want to interact. I didn't want to push myself. And things did get better. I started getting panic attacks. So I went back to her and she wanted me to see a counselor. And that was the end. I was just like, nope. Meanwhile, I had been doing extensive research on my symptoms and all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, this looks like long COVID. This definitely looks like
So
I have a,
you're the one who diagnosed
yes.
initially yourself with long COVID before even your GP knew that. It's amazing, I guess. And this is 2024, so it's been around for a while, and it's still that some doctors aren't recognizing this or even knowing about it. So where'd you take it from there?
So from there, I sat when she said I should see a counselor. I was like, nope, I'm going to be strong. I'm going to take my personal power. I'm going to tell her what I found. And surprisingly, I was very, very pleased. She said, and we're lucky because I was in Boston. She goes, there is a program that is looking at possibly long COVID because I gave her the idea. Well, I can put your paperwork in and I can see if you're accepted into the program. And wouldn't you know, about a week later, she called me and said, you're in the program. So
And
it
that
was,
was the Brigham and Women's
yeah,
program.
it
Okay,
was the Brigham and
wonderful.
Women's program.
So now you had a community, and you had a little validation of your symptoms. So did that was that helpful in your recovery process?
That started. I feel like it's so funny. It was about 8 months in, or maybe 7 months in. So I had been suffering all that time.
Mm.
And I put that as day one because really before that point, I really didn't have a day point, a starting point. So that was my starting point. And from there on, I just took off. I did all the research. I did all the studies. I looked at everything. But again, I met you. I met you doing your meditations. And when I saw that you were doing what you were doing, I'm like, this is my kind of thing. This is I related so much to your methods, and I was like, I need to follow up on, what you're doing so
And what do
much.
you think that meditation and nervous system regulation, mindfulness, what part do you think that played in your, recovery, eventual
Oh, it
recovery?
was huge. It was huge because my nervous system, as I found out that, the nervous system was a big player in mindfulness and breath work and vagal nerve, um, toning and adjusting your brain to reprocess, your emotions and stuff. Whoa, that just helped so much.
Were you doing any medical interventions as well?
Yeah, I mean, to start, to get me off the couch because I was literally in the bed. I couldn't even get to the bathroom. That's at the point I was at. I had to start with a little bit of, medical, medical things that they gave me. My stomach was disrupted, so I started taking a metrazole for my stomach and heartburn. I took, Tylenol for my headaches. I did that kind of stuff. But that primarily was to get me off the couch. That was like to get me off. After when I started doing more mindfulness and breath work, I could feel the energy start coming back to me. I really feel like my energy was disconnected. So the balance had to be brought in there. And so once I started doing some of these practices, and of course it takes time. So consistency and working towards your goal, which you always said, visualize what you want. And I did. I visualized getting up and maybe taking a walk around the corner or doing little things. And once I was able to do that, I was able to do a little bit more, but it's pacing. It's really starts with pacing. And then eventually, as I got more consistent, because I did it, I was very, very in my practice. I did a lot of mindfulness. I researched tools. You taught tools. I did them every day.
What were some of the most important tools that you could do and that you did most consistently?
Oh gosh, there's so much, but somatic work was really important. Um, you know, Making my body feel safe. That was the total first start. My body was not safe. My body was in a state of fight or flight, and it didn't know how to get out of it. So basically, what I needed to do was calm my nervous system down, give my body that safety that it needed. And once it was calm, it could fluctuate back to like the rest and digest, state. And I could feel it coming and going, but it would very much, not stay there. It would fluctuate. If I was feeling nervous in a store, I'd start humming or, I'd give myself the butterfly hug. I would do that to make myself more. So I really practiced a lot of those things, a lot of vagal nerves, support, lymphatic drainage support too. Um, so that was really, really key. And I just was consistent. I think a big part people don't understand is consistency is really important. You have to, be your own healer in a sense, take on the things, and you have to just allow yourself to be the person that does the work. Don't think of it as your doctor's going to make it better. You're the one that's going to actually do the work.
So, what would you say actually do you think is the root cause of long COVID? Do you have any theories?
Oh, I do. I mean, I think it's got to do with the nervous system and how it's not regulated. I personally think, and I think people laugh when I say this, but I think I came out of the womb in sympathetic. I don't think I ever really knew what, the three, educating yourself about the nervous system, the polyvagal theory, knowing how things work helped me so much. I mean, I didn't even recognize what rest and digest was and calm and alive. I was always living in that perpetual fight or flight, or I go to overwhelm and then I go to freeze. So understanding the nervous system was so vital for me. And, you teach a lot about that, which I think is helping people. I do a daily check-in with myself. I look at how my day is going based on my nervous system. I mean, I want to make sure that I am flowing back and forth and not getting stuck. And then when I do get stuck, I do tools to bring back, myself into regulation. But I really think the nervous system has a lot to do with it.
Could you just share a little bit about where you drew your strength from this entire time in recovery?
Okay. Well, I had an amazing husband and family that helped me through this. I mean, I had the support that way, but I did find community was huge. I mean, healing is very tough. So if you're doing it in isolation, it's really, really hard. Finding a group, finding a community. I found several groups. I found your group, which I resonated with totally. I had other groups that really, really helped me. I had mentors that helped me. So
Mm.
I think you need to draw on those positive things, but also you have to actually draw on a lot of yourself and the strength and the courage that you have. I built a lot of my own personal power back when I was on this journey. That was one of the things I was actually, you know, I thought was a good thing. And I also started to learn so much more about my body. It was like, wow, I totally didn't understand when my body talked to me that I was supposed to listen.
When you really took a look at the symptoms that were happening in your body and you went underneath, what did you find was kind of, driving them, or what was the root of them?
Yeah, well, for me, I had a lot of emotional things and I had some trauma there. I mean, during the time I was going through my recovery, I had an issue. My mother was in hospice. I hadn't been connected with her for 20 years, and she was wanting to see me. So I had to deal with a lot of emotional trauma situations. And a few of my mentors and teachers helped me to get through that. But I found as I was healing, I had to lift a lot of that trauma out of me because that was holding the healing part back. Once I was able to release some of the feelings I had, and actually it turned out to be a beautiful story at the end. Um, it just, I felt so much coming off my shoulders. And I think at that point, I was about 80% healed. Oh, the other 20 just left me. I
Right.
was able to see full on recovery after that.
What's one thing? I just have two more questions. What's one thing that you wish more people understood about recovery and healing from long COVID?
Okay, well, healing tends to happen. This is what I find. Um, when you release the timelines, don't give yourself timelines. That's like pretty important because everybody's like, no, I got to heal by next week because, I have this going on or something. Don't give yourself timelines. Stop comparing your healing journey with anybody else because they're all individual. You can't do that and kind of learn from other people, but you cannot, because this person healed, in 6 months, I'm going to do it. It's not the same. You have to let go of your self criticism about yourself. That was one of my biggest things. I had to do that. And I had to practice compassion and look at the small wins as I was going through it. Every little win was huge for me. I stacked it up, and I think we've done this in your group. We've done win journals, and the littlest thing could be a big thing for you.
Mm. So, what does the future look like for you, Pam?
Oh my God, the future is kind of, up in the air, but I kind of take it as it comes. I'm
Mm.
actually looking forward to the future. I am doing a lot of the things because I'm recovered. I have this really big calling to help other people like you do. Right now, I'm in Hawaii and I'm doing a lot of energy work, which is part of my, mind, body, spiritual thing. I'm becoming a Reiki master. I am doing energy work for clients now. I'm working with chakra clearing and I don't know. I love just the feel of energy. Energy and balance is like very much important. I think once people find the balance of their energy in their bodies, that is the definition of healing and being healthy. So I'm definitely doing that. Physically, I'm fine now. I have to pace myself, and of course, I have to watch my body, but I'm back into my running. I'm back into my daily activities. I'm actually doing everything I was doing before. I ran a 5K in December in Boston, and now I'm training again for a 5K in Kona.
Me, I can't wait to watch you in what you're going to do in the next stage too. So, well, I just
Yeah,
want to say thank
no.
you so
Oh, you're
much,
welcome.
Pam, for you help my crew out a lot too with a lot of resources and also, practices. And I hope you'll continue before you start your own to keep that up.
Yeah,
And
but you've been my inspiration. I mean, gosh, you've been the best type of mentor for me. I just see what you're doing and it makes me want to like aspire to do the same thing.
uh,
Um, can I just say one
yes,
last
of
thing?
course you can.
Okay. I've written a piece and I can share it with the group if you want. But this is like a little section of what I've written, and it says, "You are the medicine." Real healing happens when the body feels safe enough to surrender. The fascia softens, the breath deepens, the lymph begins to flow, and the soul finally exhales.
That is exactly, what I would have liked to have heard in 2021. If I had known anything about even what fascia was or about surrender or that I had any a part of this. Oh, Pam, I can't thank you enough for coming and being interviewed and for sharing everything that you do with my crew and just becoming my friend. So I just
Well,
want to say thanks so much.
I feel the same. Oh my God. You have been one of, I think I told you before, you've been one of the biggest, brightest thing that's come out of long COVID for me.
Mm, makes me feel so good. Thank you.